Welcome back everyone. Today we're jumping into Homeworld 3 and the new minimum requirement. If you remember and if you have watched, I made a video when the beta came out a couple weeks ago, month, and from that Blackbird Interactive decided to update the minimum requirement and the recommend requirement. And the only thing that actually changed is the CPU. We still need the 12 GB of memory, the GTX 1060 6GB, the RX 480 or the Intel Arc A380. For the CPU, it was the Intel i5 8600K, now it's the Intel i5 6600. For the AMD, it was a Ryzen 5 3600X, now it's the Ryzen 5 1600X. Welcome to Respawn PC, I'm Dunk, let's hyperspace in. First off, I start with the include the gameplay benchmark. That will give us a gross idea of what those new proposed minimum requirement put the setup. So I first went with the Ryzen 5 1600, the non-X variant, but it won't do a big difference here since the performance is slightly higher on the X, but you'll see we're not CPU bound at all anyway. We went with the 12 GB of memory and the GTX at 1060 6GB. And the FPS that you saw, that's the result for each setting: epic, high, medium and low. So you can almost play at high settings for almost 30 FPS. That would have been nice, but a big but, this gameplay benchmark only show one battle with not maximum unit, without the HUD, and a quite easy background to run. I'm not sure you can say those FPS are reliable, as you will see in the real gameplay after this benchmark. And there's a real big difference with the benchmark and the gameplay. The gameplay I chose is the mission that you have to do the gatekeeper while your mothership is repairing. I chose this map in particular because we have more unit than the fleet command can command. There's a ton of enemy ship coming through the gate. We have a lot of debris all around. You have some different lighting and animation from the gate itself. And remember the benchmark. At medium, we have a 39.9 FPS. Right now it's a gameplay. Yes, when I'm alone with a couple ship with the mothership, we reach a 70-72 FPS easily. But when the enemy come in, that's where it become unplayable. We reach a mid 20 to 20 FPS in the heat of the action. Their benchmark include if you want to try your PC if you can play the game is completely wrong. At least they need to change it or change scene, I don't know, but not the current one. Memory wise, we are at 9, sometimes 10 GB, so the 12 GB is justified. The CPU we have a 60-50% of utilization, so we can probably get a bit lower. The GPU is using is 5.2 to almost its entire VRAM, so I guess it need a 6 GB VRAM to play this game. If you want to play this game, you will have to drop everything at low settings. Remember, this is at 1080p. Maybe if you don't mind, you can play at 720p. But for a game that you need to zoom in, zoom out quite often, I don't think that will be practical at 720p. So 1080p low settings, we are in a battle averaging 31 FPS, playing between 26 to 34 FPS average in combat. When you're just looking at the mothership with some ship, we averaging 50 to 60 FPS. And remember, this is the campaign I'm playing. If you're going to go multiplayer or a skirmish with 3 other player, including you, 4, the number of unit that's going to be on the screen will be insane, and I don't think the 1060 will do a proper job. So if you just want to solo play this game, the campaign only, yeah, this is a good spec. 1060 at low settings, 1080p. The Ryzen 5 1600 do the job, can be a bit lower, maybe a Ryzen 5 1500, and the 12 GB of memory, it's a right call. We always just over 8 GB of memory. But for multiplayer or skirmish, I don't think that minimum requirement will meet any minimum. I'll make another video with the skirmish or multiplayer and show you the impact of this minimum requirement, and maybe show you what is the real minimum requirement for multiplayer, but it's sure not what they propose. Also, the benchmark need to be updated. This benchmark is wrong in so many ways. And remember, this is the campaign and the most intensive mission I've encountered so far. Maybe it's even worse when you reach endgame with the enemy mothership with all the other ship. Who knows? I'll know later when I finish playing. On that note, thanks for watching. I have some more gameplay to go record, and see you in the next one. Subscribe.